What's up, Whisper Nation, and welcome into the Week 15 matchup preview show.
Right here.
I am your host, Big Travie with the Fantasy Whispers. You can find me on Twitter at Big Travie TFW. As always, I am joined on this mic, on this show, by the man, the myth, the legend, ARC, Austin Sear. You can find him on Twitter at Austin_R_Sear. Austin, how are you, my man?
I am so good, man. I learned how to post tweets last week. Can't stop me now. Don't even try.
Think you're being facetious because I've seen tweets before last week from you, but if that means the activity's up, then Whisper Nation needs to get over there and follow.
Well, we've been crunching these stats, Big Travie, and every time we pull them together after like the 10-hour process, you pull in these gems. They're just amazing, and people need to know. So yeah, follow it.
No,
I mean, my Twitter account's getting all right, but you guys are the ones who are really dropping insights. You will legitimately find yourselves ahead, Whisper Nation, if you follow these guys. I'm going to stop talking.
Austin needs to give himself a little more credit. He's a better follow than that. But I get over there, follow him there. On the other mic, we have Johnny Game Time Hicks, who you can find on Twitter at Johnny_Game Time. Johnny, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. We are just on the brink of the end of the fantasy football season. Whether you are the winner, the loser, or in between, that is a little bit sad. But we've got a couple weeks left to just savor, for who knows how long until the next football season.
Yeah, and stick with us as always here with the Fantasy Whisperers, because even in the offseason, we'll be doing our mock drafts as usual. This trio obviously getting into a lot of mock drafts. We'll be doing a lot of dynasty breakdowns for the rookies coming in. What a wild season this will be too, because limited college action and weird college action because of COVID. So stick with us. Follow us on YouTube at the Fantasy Whisperers and check it out there. We're going to jump into a few games here. I see Austin wanted to jump in. What's going on?
Well, I wanted to say that is such a huge advantage. Big Trav, you pointed this out at the start of this NFL season with the lack of preseason games. Tuning into your favorite fantasy content, such as the Fantasy Whispers, is going to help separate you from the pack because there's less material widespread and available. Without these college games and the same type of lead up to the draft, you're going to need to rely on some voices who are dedicating a lot more time to this than you are, such as Big Travie and Johnny Game Time Hicks and the Fantasy Whispers. So it's an advantage. Don't get nervous about the lack of sample size ahead, because they're still going to be playing football and there's still gems out there.
Yeah, Johnny and I have been scouting these kids since Pop Warner. He's been out there, next to their dads and whatnot, watching them play. No, but all kidding aside, it's a great point that we're just going to keep cranking out content for you guys. So make sure you follow us across all platforms. But we're excited to bring you the Thursday night and a couple Saturday night matchups here. The NFL doing what it does usually in late December or mid-December and giving you some Saturday games. But the first game on the slate, guys, is the highest over-under on the slate. The Las Vegas Raiders are hosting the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a 54.5 over-under. Like I said, the number one over-under on the slate. Vegas favored by a field goal at home. Before we jump into this, if you're new to the YouTube channel, go ahead and hit subscribe, hit that like button, and comment below if you've got any questions regarding the fantasy football aspects of this lineup or any others. And we'll start with the Chargers side of the ball. And Austin, I think it begins and ends with Justin Herbert, who has just not really reached his ceiling as of late. So I guess in this high over-under against a divisional opponent, which could be a shootout, are you trusting Justin Herbert in this game?
It's a great question, right? And he hasn't hit his ceiling, but we're talking about a rookie. We're talking about a rookie that was not drafted in your fantasy football league. Every single league has Justin Herbert now rostered, but I can guarantee you that 99% of them did not draft Justin Herbert. You're picking him off the waiver, and this is fantasy football at its finest to me, Travis, because you have a quarterback here. If you're in the playoffs with Justin Herbert has helped get you there. But this is still a rookie quarterback playing on the Chargers, which means it's a volatile reality any single given week. Now, this week, though, going up against the Raiders, I do like the outlook here. Let me tell you why. The Raiders are giving up the 12th most points to the quarterback position and rank as the 25th pass defense in the NFL, making this a blow-up game, factoring in that 54.5-point over-under. Now, there's a little bit of a narrative suggesting I know you're going to touch on the wide receivers here in a second, and we'll touch on Mike Williams, who's likely out. But a lot of the conversation has been after last week's dink and dunk performance from Justin Herbert that we're not stretching the field. The Chargers aren't stretching the field as much because that downfield option has been removed. But keep in mind that Big Mike Williams is averaging just over 3 catches a game. And so he's going to have a lot more weapons. It's not going to dictate the flow of the whole offense just based on the one wide receiver here, given that Justin Herbert is number 2 in the NFL in pass attempts, and he's number 10 in the NFL in deep pass attempts, which you love from a fantasy perspective. Now, he is a rookie, and with that top 10 in deep attempts, he has the lowest completion percentage of any other quarterback in that top 10. But keep in mind, he's a rookie, and their defense is pretty darn bad. Given that reality, he's going to have a ton of opportunity. You just like to see him taking the shots down the field. I think you're going to see that this week as well. If Herbert got you here, you're going to keep riding him forward, and you have a really good shot at winning your matchup this week starting Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see Justin Herbert next year when he's maybe got a different offensive coordinator, got some weapons back with him, and has kind of those rookie bumps and bruises off of him. It's going to be really interesting to see what he's able to do last year. You mentioned 10 in deep ball attempts, but the lowest completion percentage of any QB in that top 10. I mean, that's something that just screams rookie, right? It just tells you this guy's a rookie. He's having the growing pains there. What happens next
And
year?
Travis, what gets me really excited about that is how much room for improvement is there. If he's trying and attempting this many passes, but completing them at such a low clip, but we know the man is talented and has all these great weapons around him, it's only going to go up, and it could happen as soon as this week. Look, he's got the floor of a Jacksonville quarterback, but he legitimately has the ceiling of Patrick Mahomes. This week, I think it's going to go closer to the latter on that.
Yeah, the over-under gives you confidence. The weapons give you confidence. And I'll just touch in on guys that we know we're starting. Obviously, Hunter Henry, double-digit PPR points in 4 of his last 5 games, 40 or more yards in 3 of his last 4. This is a tough matchup facing Vegas. They're top 10 against tight ends. But Henry's usage is going to keep him in your lineup. He's got the fourth most targets among NFL tight ends with 81. And then obviously Keenan Allen, who did get back to a limited practice as of this recording today, so watch that because he did exit last week's game very late in the game. But Keenan Allen just dominating, guys. Double-digit targets in all but 3 games this year. In his last 8 games, he's got 9 or more catches in 5 of them. He's the number 5 wide receiver in PPR with double-digit points in all but 2 games. I mean, he's just dominated. So the question's going to come in. Austin, you mentioned this. Mike Williams, left very early, boned me in a league where he did not play but a few snaps and then left with a back injury. He is back to practice as of this recording, but I can't imagine he's going to play if he missed all of that game and is just getting back to practice today. So really who I wrote about in the waiver wire column was Tyron Johnson, because his usage with BMW out was really nice, 6 of 7 for 55 yards and a touchdown, but 73% of the snaps. This matchup, this over-under, is really projecting a nice shootout situation. Vegas giving up the 11th most points per game to wide receivers. 16 wide receiver touchdowns they've let up this year. That's 6th most in the NFL. The hesitancy, though, for Tyron Johnson, everybody outside of Keenan Allen and Hunter Henry, is Las Vegas' best cornerback is actually one of their secondary cornerbacks. That's Nevin Lawson, and he's only giving up 0.92 yards per route run. So it's going to be, Tyron Johnson, the no-name guy, versus this, budding corner out there. But I do think if you're going to play anybody outside of Allen, it is Tyron Johnson. And I don't see Mike Williams going. But Johnny, I want to talk about the running backs. Austin Eckler's been back and just been dominating, especially through the air. How are you feeling about Eckler in this game? And should he not be able to go, what about Kalen Ballage?
Yeah, you need to monitor Austin Eckler. He was limited in practice today. He was dealing with a quad, so he was being pulled in and out of the game this last Sunday. So just monitor that, because if he's out, then obviously don't play him. And we'll talk about Ballage here in just a second. I would play him in this instance, but Austin Eckler, you're definitely playing him. He has seen 24 or more touches in 2 out of 3 games since he's returned. He's seen 9 or more targets in all 3 games back. And then you just, like I said, Wednesday's injury report will reveal whether it's clear, if he's clear to that hamstring issue, or if he has a designation heading into that game. But Las Vegas is a good matchup. They're giving up 109.3 yards per game on average to opposing running backs, and they're averaging 1.23 touchdowns per game. So that's, we love touchdowns when you're playing fantasy football. So, and the last thing is Las Vegas is allowing the second most targets to running backs, and on average for about 43 yards added on top of that. So Austin Eckler should have a very nice day if he can play. And then I wouldn't play Kalen Ballage, who stepped in. If Eckler plays, I wouldn't play Ballage. But if Eckler doesn't play, then I would play Ballage because he's been the go-to guy if Eckler's been out.
On the other side of the ball, we have the Las Vegas Raiders, and I want to start with you, Austin, and those pass catchers. Specifically the wide receivers here, because just found out today Henry Ruggs on the COVID list will be out. So not only was Nelson Aghular a hot ad, but now could get a bump in usage even with Henry Ruggs out of the lineup.
Yeah, Nelson Aglor is the one to keep an eye on, and the only recommended start that I would have for Whisper Nation from the Las Vegas wide receiver core. Nelson Aglor, he came off his second 100-yard game of the season. That is the third, I believe, 100-yard game for the entire Las Vegas wide receiver core. They just don't get a ton of volume from an individual wide receiver perspective. But Nelson Aghular has been on the uptick as of late. And most importantly, he is the legitimate red zone option for the Las Vegas Chargers outside of Darren Waller at the tight end spot. He's had 3 targets. He had 3 targets last week, just 1 for Renfro in the red zone, and leads the wide receiver group with 14 total red zone looks, 10 for Renfro. He's got 7 touchdowns on the year. That leads the wide receivers by a ton. Hunter Renfro is number 2 with 2 touchdowns on the year. So it is Nelson Aghular as the recommended start. But look, none of these wide receivers in Las Vegas are on the top 50 for yards per route run. And these wide receivers, they do move around on the field a lot. They're not really isolated left, right, or in the slot. Star cornerback Michael Davis does stick to the right side, which I believe is going to create an opportunity for one of these wide receivers this week. My bet would be on Nelson Aghular based on all the opportunity and what he's been able to do recently. And as you mentioned, Travis, with Henry Ruggs being out this week, there's just a little bit more opportunity. And that's really all these wide receivers are going to need to make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the wide receivers through the passing game, it's been the Darren Waller show. I mean, Darren Waller, 20 catches on 27 targets over the last 2 weeks. He's averaging 96.5 receiving yards over his last 4 games. 109 targets on the year. That's second to only Travis Kelce. And for reference, if we include wide receivers, that's the 9th most targets in the NFL. So Darren Waller getting it done at a high clip. And you look at the Chargers, they give up the 13th most points per game to the tight end, 8.2. So we've discussed these pass catchers. I want to discuss the run game, Johnny, and what you think about Josh Jacobs. A lot of weirdness on Sunday where he said on Instagram he wasn't going to play. Then he ended up playing. It was really hard to report on what was going on with Josh Jacobs on Sunday. And, not only the Fantasy Whisperers, but plenty of our, colleagues in the industry didn't know what to tell their followers to do because Jacobs was kind of making it very weird.
Yeah, it was really odd, and then he only ended up playing 42% of snaps, but he did see like a normal workload. He got 18 touches. I don't know what to make of that, to be honest with you. I think it could be maybe he was kind of fed up with fantasy people asking him. I don't know, but that's neither here nor there, I should say. You're looking at this matchup, right? The LA Chargers giving up on average 98.7 yards per game to opposing running backs. They're also giving up about on average 0.54 rushing touchdowns a game. So you like the odds of the running back getting in the end zone, and they're also allowing 7.69 targets per game to opposing running backs. Well, if you look at Josh Jacobs, we've been asking for it, getting his receptions up, and he's actually started to see a little bit of uptick. He's seen 3 or more targets in 3 out of his last 5 games. Listen, I understand he hasn't broken over 55 rushing yards in the last 3 weeks that he's played, but in this matchup, I do think that Josh Jacobs, if he plays, he will have a good day. And then if anything were to happen to Josh Jacobs, or if they do rule him out, then Devonte Booker, he's had some struggle over the last few weeks, but I would feel okay playing him in this matchup because it is pretty decent for opposing running backs.
Johnny, I got to ask just really quick, do you think Josh Jacobs has a little bit of a former Raiders running back in him, a little bit of a Marshawn Lynch. And what I mean by that is Josh Jacobs, we know his story is incredible. He's overcome so much. And I remember his rookie season was the year the Raiders were featured on Hard Knocks. And I had rostered Josh Jacobs that year, and I was so excited to see him on the show. And he was never on there, like literally a single time, just like the third sibling of the Osborne family. Yes, the Ozzy Osbourne family. There's a third one who just said, I'm never going to be on this show. And that's what Josh Jacobs was. I'm never going to be on Hard Knocks. And he was like always wrapped up in his hoodie. Mm-hmm. And now there's all this attention fast forward to today from the fantasy community. And it seems like I'm just here so I won't get fined is a little bit of a vibe that I'm picking up on this one. Like he's here to play football and doesn't really care about any of the theatrics or outside noise.
I could definitely see that, and especially with how, like, man, I've seen some stories of people and how vocal they are, and just they're really rude to these players, and it's like we got to realize like they're humans too, it is wild. It is wild.
First and foremost, that's the thing that we just another public service announcement from TFW here. Just don't tweet at these guys. Don't at them at all. Like, what's the point? Yeah, tweet at me. Get over here on Twitter and tell me how bad I am for telling you to start Miles Sanders. But don't ever go at Miles Sanders or anybody else.
Yeah,
that's not the way we do it here. I do want to just make this final note. I think Derek Carr is in a position to be the stream of the week here. Look, we know he's the QB 14 on the season, and we know he laid a massive egg against Atlanta, which is one of the best matchups you can get. But 3 out of his 4 of his last 4 games, he's had 27 or more fantasy points and 3 total touchdowns. He's got 19 or more fantasy points in 7 of 13 games this year. You look at the Chargers, you look at this over-under. This is the highest projected over-under. We've been beating that drum this whole matchup. And then the Chargers giving up 19.5 points per game. That's the 9th most. They just gave up 22 points to Cam a couple weeks ago. Cam Newton, who just cannot score points this year. So for me, I think Derek Carr is one of the safer bets as far as streamers are concerned, and I think you're rolling with him this week. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. If you like what you saw, go ahead and click subscribe. And if you want to watch more fantasy football content, check out one of these videos.